Welcome to this week's Signal Stocks Weekly Update. This week we will explore the intersection of biotech, power, and memory. 5 stocks including Moderna, NuScale Power, GEV, Micron and Vistra are showing positive growth this week. Before any new calls, we hold ourselves to account, and this week that means showing you a result that isn't a clean sweep. Across 16 forecasts so far, every single one moved in the direction we called. But 9 of 16 landed inside our full forecast range, which means 7 did not. Here's exactly what happened, because the pattern matters more than the number. On 5 semiconductor names, the AI capex move ran past even our most bullish target. On 2 software names, the AI disruption sell-off ran past our most bearish target. In both cases, the direction was right and the driver was right. What we got wrong was the size of the move, not the source of it. Going forward, when conviction is this high on a sector-wide story, our ranges need to be wider, not tighter. That's the adjustment, and we're making it in the open rather than burying it. Now, to this week. Here's the board. 5 names, all up, with moves ranging from 10 to 28%. But look closer and you'll see 4 completely different stories wearing the same green color. One stock has a confirmed regulatory event behind it. One has a $10 billion joint venture with named partners. One is riding a single bank's upgrade. And one has almost no revenue at all, with its real payoff still years away. Same color, very different conviction levels, and that's exactly what we're going to walk through. Start with Moderna, our first biotech signal in this series. This is about as clean as a catalyst gets. A federal advisory panel reviewed Moderna's mRNA flu vaccine and voted in its favor, a concrete, dated, already completed event, not a rumor or a hope. Layer on a recent restructuring around 3 commercial franchises, and Moderna is making a real case that it's more than a one-product company. Here's the detail worth sitting with. 2 major banks still have price targets well below where the stock is trading right now, even though one of them expected the panel vote to go this way. That tells you Wall Street's models haven't caught up to what just happened. The real test isn't this panel vote, though. It's full approval, targeted for early August, about 7 weeks from now. A panel recommendation is advisory, not binding, which is exactly why we're not treating this as a finished story yet. Now 2 power companies, both benefiting from the same macro trend, but for different reasons. GE Vernova jumped after a single analyst-initiated coverage with a bullish rating, framing the company as sitting exactly where decarbonization, energy security, and AI power demand all meet. That's a real thesis, but it's one analyst's opinion driving a stock already near its all-time high. Vistra is the stronger setup of the 2. It just landed a named seat in a $10 billion joint venture alongside 2 of the biggest names in finance and chips, positioning it as a preferred power provider for AI data centers. That's a contract, not a forecast. For active traders, this is the distinction that matters this week. One of these moves needs to be followed up with something concrete. The other already has been. This is the slide that matters most this week, because it's where we say no. NuScale Power is up sharply on the same nuclear and AI power enthusiasm lifting the rest of the sector, but there's no new fundamental news behind this week's move specifically. The company is still essentially pre-revenue, and meaningful reactor revenue isn't expected until the early 2030s. That's years away, not quarters. A recent dilutive share offering also trimmed at least one analyst's target. When the gap between a story and its financial reality gets this wide, our framework requires us to hold the line, regardless of how good the chart looks. So our rating here is hold, across the board, and we're flagging that explicitly rather than dressing it up. Micron, on the other hand, has real revenue and a real catalyst, just 6 days away. The memory and AI chip story underneath Micron is genuinely strong. But this specific week's jump is being driven by a cluster of analyst price target increases landing right before the print, including one firm that doubled its target in a single day. That kind of clustering right before earnings is a pattern worth noticing. The stock is already trading above the average analyst target heading into a binary event. Our call is simple: let the earnings print decide the next move, rather than chasing into it. So here's the week in one sentence. Not every green candle is the same candle. Moderna and Vistra both have something you can point to and verify: a vote, a contract. GE Vernova has a credible thesis riding on one bank's word. NuScale is sentiment running well ahead of its own numbers, and we're not going to pretend otherwise just because the chart looks exciting. Micron's setup is good, but the timing of this week's specific move says wait 6 days, not buy today. Our standout call this week is Vistra, the one stock here with a name, dollar figure deal behind it rather than just a narrative. Every target you've seen gets tracked, hits and misses both, and we'll show you exactly how this week's 5 land in the weeks ahead. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, subscribe and hit the bell for new signals every Friday. And here's what we'll leave you with. When the whole board is green, the real skill isn't finding the winners. It's telling the difference between a stock that earned its move and one that's just borrowing enthusiasm from its neighbors. Which of this week's 5 do you think is which?